And welcome to the Spa and Surf edition of And They're Off. It's racing's fun season. Saratoga and Del Mar are in full bloom, and the sport actually feels upbeat, popular, and happy. So let's enjoy it while we can for these few precious moments. Steve Haskin, we talked about the older horses in our last show. Let's take a peek back at the 3-year-olds running this weekend in the Haskell and the Jim Dandy. If any 3-year-olds are left, Steve, I'm sure you've identified them. What are those fields looking like?
It looks like a free-for-all. You know, considering the fact that we've lost all of our Triple Crown winners,
yeah,
and our Triple Crown runners-up in the Derby and Preakness, we actually have a pretty deep group of horses, and I think the Jim Dandy and the Haskell are both going to come up strong. And the key is going to be gemologist, which the announcement is going to be made today, meaning Wednesday, on where he goes, and that's going to be the major key in this race. Because if he goes into Jim Dandy, I might tend to think the Jim Dandy might be tougher than the Haskell. I mean, as of right now, the Haskell has got Painter, Dullahan, Nonios, Handsome Mike, Myadonis, and Le Bernardin. Yeah, it's a nice field. You know, Painter, we still don't know how good he is. Dullahan, we know how good he is. It depends on how he takes to Monmouth Park. And Nonios is the horse definitely to watch second half of the year. I thought he was very impressive winning the Affirmed, and actually ran a tremendous race to finish second in the Swap Stakes, in which Baffert stole the race with Blue Skies and Rainbows. So I think he can be pretty formidable. Now, if you look at the Jim Dandy, you've got Alpha, Adigun, who's coming off the Belmont, Fast Falcon, and Teeth of the Dog, who Teeth of the Dog and Fast Falcon ran 1-2 in the Dwyer. And you've got Neck and Neck, who's coming off a very impressive victory in the Matt Winn, and Perspective, who's won his last 2, won the Ohio Derby. That's no slouch of a race. And I was all set to criticize some of the connections of the horses in the Curlin Stakes, which is being run on Friday,
yeah,
which is another 1.125 race, because of the fact that the Jim Dandy is meant as a prep for the Travers. That's the race you run in. It's a prep and it's graded. Yet you've got seasoned stakes horses who are running in the Curlin in a non-graded race. And, you know, I thought that these horses should be in the Jim Dandy, because the Curlin seems to me to be more designed to lightly raced horses. Than we do have a few in there like Reload and Easter Gift, who look like they're up-and-coming stars. But, you know, with horses like Street Life and Ever So Lucky and Morgan's Gorilla, you know, these are horses that have done well in stakes all year. I haven't included Hansen, yeah, because we still don't know where Hansen is going yet. He was supposed to have worked this morning as we speak, and they're going to decide between the West Virginia Derby and the Haskell. I don't know where he's going to wind up, but obviously he'd be a standout in the West Virginia Derby as he was in the Iowa Derby. Yeah. So I don't know what those races are going to be doing for him at all.
Yeah, it's pretty funny that trainers and owners are now, you know, falling over themselves trying to find a race other than the prep race to run in before the big race. That's it's really a sad state of affairs, by the way, when trainers are afraid to get beat in the prep race. In the prep race, I know. Something's wrong with that. Anyway, you know, sounds like a good fields. Good fields coming up for the 3-year-olds this coming weekend. Enjoy it if you're at Monmouth or Saratoga.
Yeah, and the thing is, one other thing I just want to comment on. You know, we have to bid farewell to Union Rags, yes, which is a shame. You know, considering the prognosis was that he was going to come back as good as ever. Yeah. You know, even, you know, if out for the year, to come back as a 4-year-old. But you know, just try and imagine owners like Phipps and Galbraith and Whitney and Vanderbilt, you know, saying that they're retiring their star 3-year-old to maximize his earnings power at this point, because there's a chance that he might not come back as good as he was. I mean, that's what sportsmanship is all about, taking a chance, you know, and running your horse for the joy of seeing your horse run. I mean, you know, Mrs. Wyeth has been waiting her whole lifetime for a horse like this.
Yeah. And, you know, something's a little odd when the horse is retired, and the trainer of the horse doesn't know that the horse is retired. So
that's another story. That's another story.
Something odd, but I guess we'll just have to wait for the New York Times expose on on union rags, the medications he may or may not have been taking, and the whole decision-making process. We wait with bated breath for that. Steve, moving to another division. It's girls, girls, girls this summer. No, it's not a surfer movie, but the gals are everywhere. Last weekend we had Royal Delta, who some are saying is the best horse in training. I would take exception with that, but a TV personality keeps saying it. I don't believe it's true. She ran the Del Cap, narrowly winning. We had Questing, so impressive in lingerie in the Coaching Club American Oaks. That was a terrific field. We've seen Musical Romance and Switch, a couple of sprinters. They both won impressive graded stakes in the last couple of weeks. And get this week's Diana at Saratoga, Zagora looks to defend her title against Tappett's Fly, who just won super impressively in the Just a Game. The ultra-tough Winter Memories, Hungry Island, among others. Wow, what a race. Steve, I am loving these girls.
So I gathered. Look, I love them too, but I'm not going to get into a serious relationship with them. Only because I've been spoiled. I mean, last 3 years we've been dating the horses of the year. 3 years in a row we've had filly horses of the year, and we're basically spoiled. When you have the likes of Zenyatta and Rachel Alexandra and Havre de Grace, and you look at Goldacova and you look at Black Caviar. I know she's in Australia, but Americans have got a chance to see her run at Royal Ascot. You just had a filly win the King George, who last fall won the Arc de Triomphe.
Yep.
You got fillies winning the Japan Cup. We've got great fillies all over, and we've seen some really, really great fillies. Now, the fillies running now that you mentioned are all very good fillies. I mean, Royal Delta was extremely game. I thought she showed a lot of guts to win the Delaware Handicap off of that pace. And Questing could be any kind. She could be something special. But, as of this point, they look good. But I'm not going to get overly excited about them, only because, like I said, I think we've gotten spoiled with so many great fillies the last few years.
Steve, it's bikini season. It's okay to get excited, all right?
Okay.
All right. Right after we called out the New York Times in our last show for its destructive and inaccurate coverage of racing, boom, they went right back at it, using vet records that its reporters either didn't understand or deliberately misstated. And believe me, either scenario is equally plausible. The Times reported that I'll Have Another had a serious problem coming out of the Preakness, and that he was being treated with, quote, powerful painkillers, unquote, and gasp, x-rays. The clear implication sought by the so-called reporters was that the horse was being drugged up in order to run in the Belmont. Now, Dr. Larry Bramlich, the most respected equine veterinarian in America today, apparently had enough. He issued a statement calling the Times article, quote, closer to tabloid journalism than in-depth reporting, unquote. Bramlich said the article misinterpreted the meaning of osteoarthritis and substituted major painkillers for medications that are like aspirin for humans. He said that what I'll Have Another underwent was routine veterinary care. Congratulations to Dr. Bramlich for speaking up and calling out these bullies. What I'd like to know is, where are the heads of the Jockey Club, the NTRA, TOBA, and all the other supposed leaders of the sport in condemning this ongoing biased reporting that is making horse racing look so bad in the mainstream media? It's about time these people got out of their penthouses and started speaking up. Steve, are you in your penthouse?
Oh, yeah, sure. Listen, let me say two things in regard to this. Okay, number one, I agree with you totally about our supposed, and the key word is supposed, leaders. I mean, we just don't have any representation, and we have nobody defending this sport, and that's really the big shame of this. as far as the New York Times, why are they getting to be a regular on this show? That's what I'd like to know. I mean, how many times and in different ways can we knock the trash journalism? It seems like every single week we're attacking the New York Times. I don't even want to give them the satisfaction of discussing them. I mean, it's just, we know what the New York Times is. We know what their agenda is. They're out to ruin racing. They're out to ruin Doug O'Neill for some reason. They just don't want to let that go. We just keep going over the same garbage again every single time we do this show.
Well,
so I'm tired of mentioning the New York Times. They're irrelevant.
Somebody has to do it. Somebody has to speak out, because this crap is just getting thrown out there and lays over us like a big layer of slime. And believe me, I could use different language. Steve, I know as a traditionalist, you're a big fan of the newly named stakes races out at Santa Anita. So go ahead and congratulate the new management on their choices of names for their stakes.
Yes, as a traditionalist, I just love the way they've stuck to tradition in naming their new races. I understand why they renamed it, to get rid of all the oak tree names. And, you know, like I said, they said that they want to stick to tradition, to names, to things that mean something. So that's why they named their stakes after a restaurant, a lighting fixture, I don't even know what that's about, a horse who never even ran in California, a song by the Doors, a song by the Beach Boys, a river that nobody ever heard of, a beach in Malibu, a Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers movie, or whatever else swing time means. I mean, I don't get it.
Since when are you against Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers?
It's just yeah. Well, listen, I guess that's a traditional name to run a stake. If that's what it is, I know there's a movie, Swing Time. I had to Google it to find out if there was a swing time connected somehow.
Hey, she could move. She could move like a racehorse.
Well, so could he.
Light on her feet.
But I mean, come on, the chandelier stakes. What, is there a famous chandelier in the front runner restaurant?
No, it's not in the front runner, but there is a famous chandelier room in the director's room somewhere up there.
So is that a name for a stakes race? Because there's a room with a chandelier in it? I mean, Awesome Again, by the way, fine. I have nothing against Awesome Again. You want to name a stakes after him, although the fact that he's never run in California, and he just happened to be owned by the owner of the racetrack. That has nothing to do with the fact. Yeah, the Rodeo
Well, the
Zenyatta
Stakes. The Zenyatta Stakes.
Well, I don't mind the Zenyatta Stakes, but at the expense of Lady's Secret.
Oh.
You know, and then they took away the ancient title.
Yeah.
Look, there are two names that I think are really good. I mean, I don't mind the Eddie D is fine. The John Henry Turf Championship is an excellent name, and I like the Tim Conway. I think that's I do. I like the Tim Conway.
And the Lava Man Cal Cup race is good.
Yeah, the Lava Man Cal Cup race is good too.
Yes. Kudos to the 40 prominent owners who recently agreed to race their 2-year-olds without Salix. They are putting their money where their mouths are, and they're actually putting the long-term good of the sport ahead of short-term gain. And the reason I believe this is brave is because despite the denials of pro Salix trainers and owners and everybody else, that drug enhances performance. You can scream it's not performance enhancing till you're blue in the face. Horses run faster on it. There's not even a question about it. So this is a brave move by these owners saying we are not going to race our 2-year-olds on it. And personally, I congratulate them. No matter where you are on Lasix, I think this is worth giving it a shot and getting drugs out of the sport as much as we can. Okay. Speaking of enhanced performance, Stable Boy, you look like you've got your summer tan. You've been out in the surf and turf.
I think that's left over from Triple Crown, spending all day in the Preakness infield. That was exciting times.
There he is, a true boy of summer, Steve.
Yeah, he looks like he's been laying around Zuma Beach all day.
Yeah, he's been laying around all day. All right. All right. Thanks to our viewers. Thanks to our sponsor, Darby Dan Farm. Good luck to them with winter memories this week. I'll be up in Saratoga this weekend. Stop by, say hello, and we will see you back here in 2 weeks on August the 8th. Steve, have a lovely summer till then.
Have a great trip up at the spa. I'll be up there in a couple of weeks myself.
Very good. We'll tag team it. Bye-bye, everybody.
Take care.